I'm going to download the new app, and we'll get you started in the meantime.
All right. If anyone could have told me how hard it would be to get to this point, I don't know that I would have done it.
We both were working so many hours, knowing that you don't have any more to give, but you want to step up.
매일매일 실패합니다. 스타트업의 숙명인 것 같아요.
I'm just not feeling it.
Is it because we're Black female founders with no tech background that we can't launch a business?
I wish this innovation was everywhere.
This is 100% what I believe I should be doing, but how do we actually make it happen?
That cost of failure is so high. It's a lot of responsibility to have.
Ashley Ammons and her mother, Carrie Schrader, mother-daughter team who founded this.
As an entrepreneur, your first job is to find the place and the people that get you, feel you, support you, champion you, and go there and conquer.
It's good to have a community, not just of people that believe in you, but people who are facing the same challenges.
I don't think that I would have made it this far without the feeling of community that I found here.
Women in my age group come up to me and say, you have inspired me to do what I've always wanted to do.
You put another brick in the wall today, and that's what we're doing.
It has pushed me to be not just a tech innovator, but a guiding light to other people.
I had permission to dream. I don't think I had that.
If I can help just one person, it's going to be worth it. But now at the prospect of doing this for hundreds, thousands, millions of people, there is nothing that can stop us.
Sick anymore. Welcome, founder friends, Antler friends, and new Google besties. I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the land on where we're here today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and extend my respects to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders here with us today. I apologise for butchering that. So welcome everybody. This is to launch our newish Google partnership with Antler. Ali will take you through what the Google team will be talking through in a bit more detail, but I wanted to take you through what to expect today. So this is the first part of what we're doing. So obviously, welcome from me. And then I'll hand over to Ali, who will run you through the 3 speakers who will follow her once she's given you some more information on the partnership and the opportunities for our founders to get involved there. Then we'll have a bit of a break. We'll move you back out into there for some networking as we load in our investor friends and LPs. We'll then come back in for 5:30 and we'll kick off with a bit of a welcome from James, who you all know. We'll introduce our panel and then we'll get into the pitches. Have had the pleasure of working with the teams pitching tonight and it's looking really slick, so well done everybody. With the partnership that we've relatively just started, maybe a couple of months ago, we've had at least 15 of our startup founders take advantage of it, which is huge. The feedback has been, Joe? The feedback has been really, really good so far, and I really do appreciate the really hands-on support from the Google team with those founders. And I want to do a massive shout out to Ali, who's really driven this and has been super responsive to everything and has led the charge on the Google side for this. And also massive shout out to Maeve and Seamus for all of your hard work in putting this together. I know it's been a massive effort, so well done everybody. And so with that, I'd like to throw over to Ali to introduce you to her team. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much everyone for being here. It's very nice to see some familiar faces in the room. As Rachel just said, I'm Ellie. I'm a startup and digital native account executive here, which I'm very privileged to be able to do. I work with pre-seed, seed, and Series A startups and beyond, actually. and have an amazing team of customer engineers and technical experts that help support them. As part of this work, I also get to be a VC relationship manager, so help manage the relationship with Google and Antler and help run the partnership there. Super excited for the pitches tonight. I know you've all been doing a lot of work and Antler are amazing coaches for pitching, so I'm excited to see them. But as Rachel said, before we do that, I just wanted to run you through a bit about the partnership, some of the events that we do, some of the programs that you can leverage, and then some of the perks as well. So I wanted to start off with some stats. We've had over 500 Antler portfolios globally go through our startup program, and 180 of them go through our AI program. So that's providing a measly $77 million USD in credits. And there's been some pretty amazing tech and products built off the back of that, which is super exciting. Hopefully some familiar logos up here. We've had over 50 of the Antler portcos in Australia go through the startup program, 16 of which went through our AI program. Some of you are here today. You can see some familiar faces, like FitFlow, Authentified, Brave, Huddled. Might be missing a few. Perfect. So I wanted to walk you through our engagement model for working with Antler, and we've kind of tailored it to make it work with the different cohorts that Antler have. So for pre-accelerator and accelerator time, we've got both the starts here and our new ecosystems here, which we've just launched. So that gives you either access to $2,000 or $25,000 of credits. And this is really to just help you build that MVP, help you get to raising your first round of funding. Once you've raised that first round of funding, that's when you can get access to either the Scale or AI startup program. You'll get a dedicated startup success manager, you'll get a dedicated customer engineer, and you'll get access to solution architects and product experts for different fields. And that's really to help you certify your team and help you build scalable products. We also really like running events like this to help with learning and development and networking. So I wanted to run you through a few of them. Perfect. So last year we ran or launched CTO Connect, which was an awesome program. It was 4 half days over 10 weeks. This is really it was really to help focus on building leadership skills and development. We had around 80 CTOs and founders join, which is amazing. We had a few Antler portcos, so we had Trace, Enclave, and Uprow join. We had amazing feedback. We had some really amazing panelists come and join. But you might notice something about this photo, that main one. So despite our best efforts, out of that previous 80 CTO cohort, we only had 4 female participants, which we realized that we really needed to do better. So this year we launched Women in Tech, where we had 72 technical founders, we had product managers, VCs, and they really came together. We ran sessions on empowerment, leadership, and skills like raising your first rounds. We had a few Antler startups like Tactique, Favo, Kidly, Alt AI, Iona AI, lots of them. It was an incredibly vibrant group. There was some really long-lasting connections. I think some people made some new hires, which is an amazing outcome for events that we run. And it was just really great to support these diverse groups, and it's definitely something we want to continue to do more of. So the Antler partnership that we're talking about today, in Australia, we've just launched it recently, but globally it's been going for a while. So we've run events, over 20 events all across the world. We've done portfolio spotlights like this one in New York, pitch nights in Singapore. We've done diversity events in France. Just those events alone, we had over 250 startups join and 150 single VCs and single investors join. So we're super excited to see where that partnership goes. Perfect. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the common conversations I'm having with startups today in my work, and what those areas the startups are seeing Google Cloud as a differentiator. AI, you obviously hear us talk about that a lot. You'll hear us talk about it a bit more. We've definitely entered this new AI era, although it's not new to Google. AI has definitely been in our DNA from the invention of the transformer to open sourcing Kubeflow. We've built AI into all of our products, and we've got a vertically integrated stack called Vertex AI. This platform really allows you to easily build and deploy AI applications, all while maintaining very high security and also protecting your IP, which is super important as a startup. We'll have our very own Ella Greer, who is a machine learning specialist, take you through Vertex AI in more depth a little bit later. You may have heard of us known as, or being called the data cloud, with products like BigQuery and Looker. That's how we are known, especially in the enterprise markets. A lot of startups are using these products to drive new revenue streams for their startups, especially in those early days when they're trying to get profit through the door, revenue through the door. BigQuery also provides a really intelligent platform for really powerful but really simple data analysis, which is a perfect foundation for any kind of AI workload that you develop. So we've got Nina Munich, our data analytics specialist, joining us a little bit later, and she'll be diving into a few data monetization strategies you can leverage. Lastly, we really aim to be a growth partner for our startups, and that can look like a couple of things. So firstly, we've got Marketplace. So if you are a B2B SaaS company, you can list on our Marketplace as an ISV. And this really helps startups break into those enterprise markets. So removing those procurement barriers, removing that red tape. And as you scale and grow, you'll get our sales teams to do joint go-to-markets with you, so you can really break into our accounts. We've got pre-built MarTech stacks to help you scale globally and get the most out of your advertising. And lastly, you get access to Google Ads growth strategists that can help you launch into paid marketing or paid advertising, so you get the most return. We've got our very own senior growth strategist, Antonia McGrath, taking us deeper into that a little bit later. So our startup program, hopefully most of you are fairly familiar with it, but if not, I'll give you a bit of a quick overview. As I said, we've got the START program that gives you $2,000 of credits and access to some discounts on Workspace. Once you've got funding or once you've received equity-backed funding, you'll receive $100,000 US in the first year and a 20% discount of up to a further $100,000 in the second year. You'll also get benefits like Workspace, Maps, and access to Cloud Skill Boost, which is one of our labs. In March last year, we launched our AI program. So this gives you up to $250,000 in the first year of credits. This is really to cater towards those AI startups that have very high compute needs to try and get them off the ground a little bit easier. You'll also get early access to AI products and AI experts. We've evolved our Web3 startup program, so it now allows token raises and blockchain grants as funding sources, which is amazing. And you also get perks from some of our partners like Solana, Polygon, and Nansen. I wanted to kind of introduce you to the wider team across APAC. In Australia, you've got me as your startup account lead, so hopefully lots of you have already met me. And then you've also got Bradford, who you've also probably met, who is our startup success manager. If you do have any questions or want to ask anything further, come and grab me. I'll be here all night. And yeah, I'm very excited to hear the rest of the pitches. So good luck, and thank you.
Okay, let's do some tests. Tell me when you see something that makes sound.
I see a speaker, which makes sound.
What is that part of the speaker called?
That is the tweeter. It produces high-frequency sounds.
Give me a creative alliteration about these.
Creative crayons color cheerfully. They certainly craft colorful creations.
What does that part of the code do?
This code defines encryption and decryption functions. It seems to use AES-CBC encryption to encode and decode data based on a key and an initialization vector, IV.
That's right. What neighborhood do you think I'm in?
This appears to be the King's Cross area of London. It is known for its railway station and transportation connections.
Do you remember where you saw my glasses?
Yes, I do. Your glasses were on the desk near a red apple.
What can I add here to make this system faster?
Adding a cache between the server and database could improve speed.
What does this remind you of?
Schrodinger's cat.
All right, give me a band name for this duo.
Golden Stripes.
Nice. Thanks, Gemini.
What did you guys think of that demo I built earlier? Good one? No, I'm just joking. G'day everyone, I'm Ella, and I'm a machine learning specialist here at Google Cloud. Whoa, there goes the lights. And I just thought I'd get you a little bit excited to kick this off with some of the cool research projects that we've been developing at DeepMind. And that was a really cool new capability that we're building in the world of multimodal AI called Astra that we're planning to launch later this year. And it's all very cool, all of the new technology that we're building and coming out within this space that we're seeing across the industry. But what I want to talk a little bit about today is navigating the maze, pretty much. It's my full-time job to keep up with just what Google and Google Cloud is building in this space. And trust me when I say it's more than a full-time job. So I can empathize with all of the founders, and technologists we have in the room here, who are looking out across the industry and trying to essentially set your business up for success when it comes to AI. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. My job at Google is to work with all sorts of companies from scaling digital natives to large-scale enterprises on their AI strategy, their roadmap, and kind of how they're designing different architecture with AI. And this is still one of the most common questions I get. So what I'm going to attempt to do in 10 minutes is answer it for you. I know we're late in the afternoon. We've got, beers and drinks awaiting us. So I'm going to try and make this as memorable as I can by using the rule of 3 and also my personal favourite memory technique, alliteration. So let's find out what the 3 Ps are for setting your business up for success. Now, first P, the primary P, if you will, is platform. We know that this tech is evolving really rapidly. We can see that out in the industry at the moment. We're seeing, everything from world-leading models to new research, new open source repositories that are literally being released every day. And so as this technology rapidly evolves, what you want to do to enable your business to grow and scale across different use cases is a platform. And this is the way that we're thinking about our platform at Google Cloud. What we want to build is the capability for every business to be able to have this platform to, grow and scale across use cases. Now, it's essentially broken down into the 3 components that we can see here. And I'll jump into the first one, which is Model Garden. So I can't count on 2 hands the number of times I've heard or even said the phrase, "There will not be one model to rule them all." But this is essentially because it's something that really rings true across a lot of business applications of generative AI. And we've really built our platform with this in mind. What we did was went and did extensive research across a lot of industry verticals. And off the back of that, we carefully curated a list of about 150 models, both predictive and generative AI models, that are useful, that work for different, business use cases, and that adhere to our own standards of safety and responsibility. So we've tested them for this. And we're the only platform where you'll find open source models, models from our third-party partners like Anthropic, and first-party models that have come directly from Google Research, so models like Gemini. Now, on the next layer of this stack, we actually have the tools for you to make these models useful. This essentially gives you the optionality to take, both Gemini models and these open source models and bring your own data to them to do things like tuning, customizations, augmentation, evaluate them against each other, and actually monitor them when you've deployed them out into the wild. one of the things that we learned along the way was that there is a set of tools that every business will need when it comes to developing a generative AI application. And this is where the top level of this platform comes in. So within what we call Agent Builder, there are a bunch of out-of-the-box tools, everything from no-code, click-to-deploy chatbot applications, all the way to the primitive APIs where you can build your own retrieval-augmented generation pipelines, for example. And they're the tools to be able to orchestrate with generative AI models, the tools to ground them in things like your own business data, or you can also ground in Google search data as well, so you can link in Google search data to the responses that your generative AI models are producing, and also the ability for LLMs to take action, so things like function calling and integrating large language model capability into your upstream and downstream business processes. And so that's really the core of how we're trying to think about what people need when it comes to building their own AI platform. And to summarize, really, it's about choosing a platform, not necessarily a specific model. Now on to the second P that I want to chat about today. It's practices. Now, the word practices really encompasses a huge, broad range of different things when it comes to AI. So there are a couple of types of practices that I think are worth thinking about in the early stage. The first one is to decide what you want to be as an AI organisation and how you want to deploy AI. And as it stands, there are essentially three broad strategies that you can think about when it comes to this. The first is the taker model. So this low barrier to entry way where you can take global pre-trained models and plug them directly in as APIs to certain functions within your applications, or to be able to enrich your own business data. The second and slightly more technical version of this is the shaper model, where you're bringing your own data, you might be tuning a model, you might be building some sort of retrieval augmented workflow where you can access your business data using large language technology. And then on the very bottom layer of that strategy, you have the maker model, where you're actually investing in training and deploying your own machine learning models. And as you're exploring these different pathways, it's really important to think about, how do these map to your different product stats and priorities? How do you, choose one of these and the way it might affect speed or cost or actual time to value when you're building your MVP? And how do you create defensible differentiation when it comes to picking one of these strategies? The second type of practice that I think every business should be thinking about is responsible AI. It's one that we've heard, a lot in recent news, and something that a business of every size needs to have. At Google, we have our own set of core AI principles, and we define them as what we think AI should be and avenues that we will not pursue when it comes to AI. And building some of these within your own business will essentially provide you with a great blueprint to think about where you will want to invest in AI capabilities and allow you to define what tools and skills you actually need as a business to make your AI principles a reality. And so that's a second type of practice that you should be thinking about. And the third and final one, which has probably come to mind already for a lot of you, is the practice and the role that AI is playing in your business day to day. Think just a stat here, I've heard literally thousands of stats over the last 6 months, but natural language capabilities driven by generative AI unlock the potential to automate more than 25% of our total average work activities. And I'm sure for a lot of industries, think software development, it's probably higher than that. So this idea of AI accelerating, the way you work as part of your business is quickly becoming a reality, whether you lay it out to your, collaborators or employees, or whether you don't. And so I encourage you to think about how you want to build a centre of excellence around AI productivity as you start to grow your business. And, if you're building a technology business, I just wanted to pop this up here as an example. This is a great way that you can look at it in the context of a developer lifecycle. There are so many tools out there now. Even at Google Cloud, we're building a whole wide range of productivity tools, everyone from workspace users in Docs or Drive to Gemini for developers that's available within your IDEs. We have productivity tools even for data scientists to do, things like natural language to SQL, and even for security practitioners who are scanning for new types of vulnerabilities. So there's really a place for this at every part of the developer lifecycle, and it's a great exercise to think about how you're going to embed this into what your day-to-day business practices actually are. And so that's my first 2 Ps. Can anyone guess the last one? Anyone in the room here? Anyone want to shout out, give it a guess? Patience is a great one. I wish I had thought of it. Any other guesses? Price is another good one. There could really be 5 Ps. What was that? Well done. Did you see the slides before this? Oh, he's done it. It's play. So, I know that all of you, you're at an early stage of a startup, you're running at 100 miles an hour, you're shipping new features, you're trying to validate different hypotheses. AI may or may not actually be a core part of your business offering, but it's important to create the space in your business for experimentation to exist when it comes to AI. One of my favourite TV shows to watch at the moment, if anyone's following along, is MasterChef. And essentially in this show, Aussie emerging chefs are given a full pantry of the latest ingredients, the best tools they could ask for. They're given this guardrail environment to be able to spin up new projects and to actually experiment. And this really got me thinking that we wouldn't expect a top chef from a Michelin star restaurant to deliver a new recipe in the middle of dinner service. They need the MasterChef kitchen to be able to experiment. And so why wouldn't we expect the same for our top engineering talent that we're looking to hire into our businesses? And as you start to build out, as I'm sure there are a lot of founders in the room, as you start to build out your business, really ask yourself, where does my top engineering talent go to experiment as part of the business? And as a founder, it's important to create this space. And if I had my own MasterChef kitchen, these are a couple of things I'd think about filling it with. And it's the same things we talked about at the top with respect to that platform. A low-code, no-code environment where if I was a business leader, a product manager, all the way to a developer, I could quickly and easily validate and test ideas or create new MVPs. It would be your generative AI playground or model garden where I could, have the recipes available to me to be able to spin up new functionality. And then the last one I wanted to touch on here was a practical learning platform. So we have something at Google Cloud that you get as part of the AI Startups program called Skills Boost. And what it is a completely sandboxed Google Cloud environment, so not in your own development environments, where you can plug and play with these technologies and you actually get the walkthrough and the learning modules to go along with actually how to use generative AI. And if we foster this culture of experimentation and of learning, we allow for, moonshot thinking to take place within our organisation. We don't get stuck in this idea of versioning. Now, across Google, in product and engineering, all the way to DeepMind, we subscribe to what we call this 70-20-10 rule. And what it is essentially dedicating 70% of your core business to incremental improvements to an existing idea or existing core part of your business. Then for that 20% of the time, explore ideas that are totally new, that might be related to your core business, but that might represent some kind of a leap into new terrain. And then make sure that you leave 10% of the time for ideas that are just completely out of the box. They might be completely unrelated to your core business, but what they represent is you venturing into new ideas of the future or completely new experimentations. And this is what we allow to take place when we think about creating the space to play. So I actually didn't put the 3 up there again, but I hope you take them away and remember them. I'll wrap it up because I can see that I'm over time here, but thanks very much, everyone. I'll be out there later, so I'm going to ask you what they are after you've had a few drinks, and hopefully it landed. So I'll pass over to our next speaker. Thank you all very much.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ella. And hi, everyone. My name is Antonia, and I am a growth specialist here at Google in our Google Customer Solutions team. Really excited to chat with you today about Google Ads and talk a little bit more about the things to get thinking about before starting investing into Google Ads and your advertising strategy, and a bit more about a go-to-market. Now, we love a little bit of audience participation and would love all the founders in the room if they could raise their hands. Awesome. Now, keep your hands raised. Keep your hands raised if you have used or leveraged our Google Analytics tools. And keep your hands raised again if you've ever used Google Ads. Awesome. We have some people in the room currently using our analytics tools and leveraging that for their business, and some that have already dabbled in Google Ads. So hopefully across the room you might get a couple of insights into ways in which you can think about your current Google Ads advertising, and also think about how you can get best prepared to launch your campaigns to grow your business. Now, across every stage of growth, Google does have solutions to really help you foster and grow your business. This is through that kind of build stage with Drive and Docs, into that early stage growth within Google Trends and Analytics, and helping you understand your customers and your industry. Really helping you grow through our analytics tools, through our Google Ads tools, and helping bring customers to your website and understand more about your products and services. And then later, finally scaling and really investing in our solutions in Google Marketing Platform and Google Cloud Platform to help future-proof your business and scale beyond Australia and onwards. But why Google Ads for Aussie startups? Now, in Australia specifically, 95% of searches are currently done on Google. This means in this market, consumers are looking to Google to understand and research what they're going to buy, research the services and information that they need to get started and make that purchase decision. Google Ads is then an amazing tool for you to get in front of the right customers at the right time and help them drive them to your business. So how do we get started though? Really, I believe that there's 4 core elements to getting started with Google Ads and what we would consider a go-to-market strategy. And these involve defining your target audience. This can include identifying the ideal demographics, the customer profiles, the interests, and also geographic locations in which they are. Establishing clear business and marketing objectives. Defining measurable goals for your Google Ads campaigns. Are you looking to increase website traffic, drive leads, drive sales, overall increase brand awareness? Develop engaging ad campaigns, so creating compelling ad copy that is super relevant to your customers and really resonates with them, and utilizing some of our Google AI-powered tools that are powered by Gemini to help you get there. And lastly, implementing robust performance tracking and tracking metrics for measures of success to help you drive a data-driven optimization strategy. By following these 4 core steps, you are well on your way to launching a really high-performing Google Ads campaign and overall media strategy. Kicking off with understanding your target market. We know that customer journeys are really not linear. They are complex and they involve multiple touch points. There has been many studies done that consumers can take up to several or more interactions with a business across multiple devices, across multiple channels, before they actually make a purchase decision on a service or a product. Now, it is really important to make sure that your ads are actually reaching the right consumer. So this includes, like what we said, who are they? Their interests, their demographics, where are they located? Where are they located as well? And also landing the right message. So making sure that the ad that you're serving that customer really resonates with them. Now, beyond the customer profiles that you may have developed internally in terms of the consumers that you think are going to be the right fit for your business, your product, or service, you can also leverage Google Analytics to help you generate audience insights for consumers that are interacting with your website. We have some really powerful tools and some auto-created audiences for you to dip your toe in and build that out within Analytics. I'd highly recommend a hell of a lot of Google YouTube videos to help you play around with Analytics. There is lots of features that you can get in touch with. Next, we have developing and setting business and marketing goals. Now, establishing clear business and marketing objectives is really, really paramount to the key success of your overall Google Ads campaigns. And these objectives do provide a strategic roadmap to your advertising effort and overarching business goals. It can inform your resource allocation, your budget allocation, and create accurate measurement and KPIs in which you're wanting to achieve. One thing to consider here is that your smaller campaign objectives and media objectives should always ladder up to your marketing and business objectives. So in this example on the screen here, say for example, I want to grow my business 30% year on year. That's my overall business objective. In my marketing objective, that means I want to increase my brand awareness and I want to drive overall leads for my business 2 times year on year. Ambitious growth, but we're going to get there. Our media objectives and what this means for my specific channels is that I want to drive leads through Google year on year, and I also want to drive video campaigns across multiple channels. And then into my actual campaign activity and what I want to achieve on my Google Ads campaigns, that looks like driving 2 times the lead volume at a cost per lead of $100, which is what is going to be my profitable metric. As you can see, all of these objectives really ladder up to your core business objective and really lays the foundations of where you should invest. As we touched on before, the consumer journey is complex, and understanding what kind of goals and objectives that you do have for your campaigns is really paramount to where you want to be focusing on that marketing funnel. You want to reach customers at different stages of the customer journey depending on your objectives. That's why setting these goals is so important, as it really does inform your business strategy. If you want to grow brand awareness, you're going to look at doing YouTube campaigns and visually rich insights to target consumers within your interests. Crafting compelling ad campaigns. Now, this is what I do most days for my customers and help them build this out. But now we've got our core target market, we've defined really clear business goals and objectives. Now we can actually leverage some of our really awesome Google AI tools that are powered by Gemini to help automate campaign creation and build. Leveraging AI in creating your campaigns is fundamental. It maximizes your ROI by getting the most out of your budget, saves time and resources to make sure that you are actually spending time on areas of your business that are going to drive the most impact, gain deeper insights on your audience, and keep your campaigns cutting edge. Now, let's see this in action in the next video.
Sosa cat food.
Good for your cat.
Buena para el planeta.
We have light. Awesome. I love that video. I do like cats, but it definitely goes hand in hand. Automated campaigns like the ones we just saw being created are fueled by Google's AI tools. This has provided advertisers with the ability to really easily create and launch high-quality campaigns and creative within the Google Ads interface, delivering a personalized and visually rich experience to your customers. As you can see on the screen here, we've really shifted the focus in the last 10 years from ad metrics such as clicks and impressions all the way up to tangible business outcomes like revenue and profitability. You can optimize your campaigns to focus on what matters to your business, whether that's leads, whether that's purchases. And what this means for your business in terms of your marketing is reaching your target market in the moments that matter, wherever they are, to maximize your return on investment and drive your business growth. Google AI ensures that your advertising budget is working harder, smarter, not harder, to drive real results. Lastly, tracking performance. Google Analytics 4, or GA4, offers you a wealth of solutions to help you understand more about your customers, your business, and make decisions that are data-driven. It also helps marketers meet their campaign and overall business objectives. This includes collecting and measuring data to have a deeper understanding of your target market, surfacing powerful insights to enable marketing objectives. You can integrate your data from online and offline events and activate on these insights by pulling in that data into media buying platforms such as Google Ads. It all kind of starts with that full fundamental tracking and performance measurement that we utilize in analytics. An example of performance tracking for a lead generation business using Google Ads and identifying core elements of what is important to that business. Let's say, for example, you want to track consumers who have visited multiple pages. You want to track consumers who have called your business. You want to track consumers who are submitting leads to your business. Fundamentally, your Google Ads strategy will likely start here in that engaged visitor online conversion tracking space. As you mature your tracking capabilities, your integration of your CRM activity, you will mature your business in what you can actually target with your Google Ads advertising. So moving further down the funnel, not just to leads, but to qualified leads, whether that is SQLs, MQLs, all the way down to consumers that have actually purchased your product. And integrating that data within Google Ads to ensure that we're optimizing your campaigns to consumers who have not just submitted leads to your business, but who have actually become paying customers. This really provides the foundations for your businesses to be able to create a greater efficiency and sustainable growth. Next steps and key takeaways. It might be some things that across the room we have people who are already looking into their Google Analytics. They might be already testing out their Google Ads campaigns. So things to take away from here is have a fundamental understanding of your target market. Utilize free tools such as Google Trends and Analytics to leverage and harness that information to help grow your business. Define your business and marketing objectives. The template that I provided today is something that I do with mature businesses that I operate with on starting a new financial year or new businesses who are really from the ground up. It is a really fundamental way for you to set those campaign goals and have a clear understanding of what's next. And then setting the foundations on tracking performance, so setting up that event tracking, that audience tracking in Google Analytics of those consumers who are interacting with your website, and this can later be pushed into Google Ads. Awesome, thanks so much for your time today, and I'll be passing over to Nina.
Well, hello everyone. And you know what? The way that she just asked everyone to put their hands up if they're actually using Google Ads and using Google Analytics, this now means that everyone should start doing data monetization with Google Cloud because we've got this handy little connector that goes from GA4 to BQ. We can talk about that later. So I guess what I'm going to be talking about today, and for those who don't know me, I'm part of the data analytics specialist team at Google Cloud. So we come in, we talk specifically around using your data properly, and myself, I've got a background in cloud computing and also big data integration, data governance, and metadata management. What I really would have liked to have titled this one, because we've got finding new revenue streams through data monetization, other than just selling data on the dark web. So we've actually got on the banners here from day 0, but I actually want everybody here, particularly the founders, to think about what they want to do from day 1. Because yes, there's going to be nights where you're going to think, is this worth it? I've collected all of this data. Some of it's here, some of it's there. What am I going to do with it? Maybe I do just sell it on the dark web. Do not want you to do that. All right? Remember what Ella was talking about with using data in an ethical way, making sure you do AI in an ethical way. If you set up well from the beginning, it's going to make your life a lot easier. Now, I've worked with startups from all different sizes across the course of my career, and I can tell you one thing. The companies that go from here to here are generally the companies that are kind of ready to do reporting and actually give back to their investors and actually have that trust from their customers that they know what they're doing with their data. So that's my way of putting it, but I think that what Doug says here is pretty good. Transformational, data-driven applications are only being built by innovators and fast followers. And everyone wants to think of themselves as an innovator, right? The leading 20 to 25% of organizations that are trying to differentiate and transform their organizations, well, embedded analytics are often the centerpiece of such applications and services. Now, you may have heard the term embedded analytics, but never fear if you haven't. It's also known as infused analytics. It's also known as data to the customer, data where it's at. It's one of those things that has a different term everywhere. We like to use the term embedded analytics because it's a bit of an umbrella term that kind of goes into different ways of doing this, and I can cover this a little bit more as we go. So I've divided this into, like Ella said, the rule of 3. Brilliant. From day 1, or day 0 if you're really ahead of the game, you want to make sure that you're treating your data with respect from the get-go, because things are going to get really crazy really fast, particularly if you've got a great startup and people are going to invest, right? You don't want to be going back and thinking, oh, we've got to have this report ready because this investor's going to come and talk to us, and oh, we've potentially got this meeting with this really big customer, and some of our data's sitting on Mark's iPhone, and some of the data's sitting over here in that Google sheet that Tony started up, and Mary has some scribblings on a piece of paper that she ripped off a catalog somewhere. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you've got a data strategy from the beginning, even if it is just to make sure that your data is safe, it's collected, and you know where it is it can store. But not only that, when you do start to collect data, you anticipate the fact that you may not be collecting data at a rate that's 10% week on week or 25% quarter on quarter. You're going to account for the fact that the amount of data that you have today, right, you might have a petabyte tomorrow. Who knows what's going to happen with your startup? Wild things happen in this world, right? So you want to make sure that you've built out a platform from the beginning, and we can help you out with this. That's actually going to enable you to actually scale into different markets, different regions very quickly, and make sure that your data is safe and secure at the same time. The second horizon that I think that startups should really think about at the beginning is not necessarily thinking about the insights that you think are going to impress your customers, right? You don't want to shove in your customer's face, this is what you want to know from our product. No, you want to start to think about the things that matter internally to your stakeholders, the different teams, like your marketing teams, what you're doing for HR, what you're doing for finance, because your team's going to grow as your startup grows at the same time, right? So think about the internal insights, the KPIs, the measures, everything like that that you need. But then also think about and start to think about what's going to be important to the people who are actually going to give you money to build more stuff. Yeah? And think about what's going to be insightful for maybe the first few customers that you're starting to work with, whether you're working with businesses or you're working direct to consumer, right? Now, building out your data monetization product, it doesn't have to be perfect from the get-go. So a couple of the mistakes that I've seen, and I've worked at a couple of different vendors in my time, is that you will get a startup, and this startup basically has a budget like this, okay? And yet they've got an imagination this big, and they think to themselves, we are going to make sure this is the most beautiful white labeled product. It's going to be the chef's kiss, Master Chef, I love it too. But the thing is that if you want to start off with a product which is literally just an iframe as part of your website, which is part of a customer portal, that's going to help to kind of validate, did you start to think about the right insights and what's going to matter from the beginning?
And then you can kind of build and iterate on there as long as you've got flexibility and you've got the skills in-house. We can help you out with training and everything like this at the same time. So that's why I've kind of divided it into 3 sections. Treat your data with respect from the beginning. Start to think about what matters, what are the things that you want to measure, and these things can change over time. And just start playing around. Start building out a product, because as you actually start to kind of test these things, and you test it internally maybe first, or you test it with a big trusted customer, the customer that's been with you the longest, or the angriest customer who you want to keep, whatever you want to do, these are the kind of 3 areas that I go into. So, why do this with Google? Well, because you're here right now, and because we've got that nice connector from Google Ads. But I guess kind of we're going to talk about AI again. And the thing is that, well, we do have a bit of a history around AI, innovating around it, making sure that we've got the cloud-first infrastructure. So then it's pretty fast to do it on Google, really. And then it means that you can go pretty cool. You can do some pretty cool things with it at the same time. And then it's also the idea that we've got some pretty modern in-database analytics. And we've got this nifty little product called Looker, which I'll show you a couple of examples very shortly on. And the third reason is that we've got a lot of customers around the world. I mean, you just saw 95% of all queries go through Google Search. A bunch of people are using Gmail every day. We've got people using Google Maps, everything like that. We understand that customers are using data all the time. We are a data company, right? Data cloud. And we like to kind of go beyond traditional business intelligence and analytics. And that goes back into the embedded story, and then what you can do around that as well. So, 2 different streams. I'm going to kind of breeze through this a little bit, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter as long as you're making money, right? Be happy at the same time. Life is more than just money. We are in a capitalistic society, however. Direct monetization, okay? So that's the idea that, you know, you've got your analytics platform, you're using data as a service, and you've also got free to premium insights. You've got different tiers and so forth, right? Indirect monetization, we come across this almost every day. Anyone who's currently scrolling Instagram at the moment or something, you're probably going to go and look, oh, I've been on here too much. Oh, wow, indirect monetization right there. And a few more examples that are pretty cool. Don't worry if you haven't heard of Rakuten. I like this one because it sounds like Rasputin, but it's not. It's actually just a Japanese version of cash rewards. I do recommend using it. My friend Tina was telling me about it the other day. Dyson, we all know Dyson, the coolest vacuum cleaner company. But Peloton's a really excellent example here, because they kind of took the idea of working out on an exercise bike and then making data make it really cool. Now, Drizzly. Anyone here heard of Drizzly? I wasn't actually expecting one, but thank you. All right, anyone heard of Uber? Yeah, there you go. We've had people heard of Uber. Well, here's the thing. Most people in the room, you want to grow your business by 800%, right? No nods? Okay, whatever. I give up, man. You guys are a hard crowd. All right. The thing about Drizzly is that because they were good little sports, they treated their data with the most beautiful respect from the get-go. They had it ready to go. They actually started using Looker, which is the embedded analytics BI platform that we've got here at Google Cloud. They used it with a bunch of other data products that we've got within Google Cloud, like BigQuery and so forth. And because their data was ready and clean and in the right place and secure from the get-go, they were ready in 2020. COVID hits, everybody turns into an alcoholic. They're basically moving alcohol all over the place, and they're providing data and insights left, right, and center. They grew 800% within a year. Like, it is absolutely mental. You can read the case study, just Google it. And they were acquired by Uber in 2021, $1.1 billion. So there's a bit of a look at the back scenes, okay? So what they did was they actually started off with, remember when I was saying test it out? You can test it out internally. They started off with internal analytics, kind of just looking at different kind of SKU level kind of things, and you can see they're doing UPCs, which is like, you know, US version of like EANs and everything, right? And they tested it out internally. They could quickly pivot where they needed to because it was all on a SKU level, right? And then they kind of thought, oh, cool, we can do this with customers and everything too. And then they went into different tiering. So when you're thinking about doing data monetization and you're thinking, well, do we charge our customers a lot? Do we just give it all for free and do we charge them all the same thing? Or can we pivot around? Drizzly did. 800% growth. Doesn't even feel like a BI tool or a spreadsheet. And they did this within 6 months. That's how easily they were able to pivot. And on top of that, pertaining to looking after the data and making sure it was trustworthy and secure, because the platform that they were using from Google Cloud Looker actually has a semantic modeling layer, it meant that they could actually iterate very easily when they went through different alcohol types and everything at the same time. So that's a really cool kind of like business and consumer happy story, right? And I'm sure many people in the room have heard of or used Wix before. Yep, 100%. So with Wix, I guess kind of the scenario here is that it's like, yeah, cool, we can take on Squarespace, we can show people how to build websites. What about if we actually showed them the data on what else they should do on their websites and they end up using more Wix? Wouldn't that be beautiful? Yes, it would be. It would be, 100%. So Wix actually has a great data strategy, and they actually have a whole host of different products. They use everything from App Engine to BigQuery and DataStream and everything in between. And then what happens is I've started up a jewelry store on Wix. Wix is going to be like, would you like to see who's looking at rings versus who's looking at bracelets? We've got a dashboard for this. So they've got hundreds of different verticals, and because they're collecting the data themselves, they can get more people building more on their actual service at the same time. And again, just like Drizzly, they decided that they were actually going to make this super clear for their customers, and you can go onto the Wix website and actually see this, and this is all powered by Google in the back end, right? So then people can choose what is going to be the best option for them. Wix. Brilliant. Okay, now I've got 10 seconds left. So I would have done a demo. That ain't happening today. We've got a sofa on screen. But if anyone here actually wants to see this in action, this is a super cool example from Google Cloud, because this one is actually bringing in everything from Google Maps to trends and forecasting data, Gemini, all of the embedded analytics and everything in between. So reach out, talk to any of us, and we can actually show you what you can do with coffee vans, and then how you can track them around and what they need to order and how you can pivot and so forth. I love this demo. I think it's great. We're all caffeine addicts, so come and talk to us if you want to see it. And I'm going to hand it back to our lovely Antler crew.
Hello. Hi. So I'm just going to wrap up very, very quickly. I hope everyone got a lot out of that. For those that haven't engaged with the Google team just as yet, I hope that is encouraging for you. If you need some help with connecting with Ellie, please let me know. You ladies put me absolutely to shame with your presentation styles. So I just want to thank you again for sharing all of your insights with our founders. So just to go on for our next bit, we've got half an hour outside networking. Pro tip, you guys are all with red bands. All the investors are with green bands. Thanks, Google, for the money tip on that. So we'll be back in here in half an hour. The Antler crew and the Google crew will be rounding everybody up. So with that, enjoy. See you soon.
evening. Welcome, everyone. And for those that can hear me out in the drink section, please come in. Got some lovely seats here on the side. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land upon which we meet. I'd like to extend those extra respects to elders past and present, and for the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders in the house, a warm welcome. Welcome to Antler's Portfolio Spotlight with our good friends from Google Cloud. I'm James McClure, one of the partners here for Antler. I know probably 90% of the people in the room, but for those that I haven't, looking forward to having a chat later on. But the whole Antler team here is really happy to welcome you here, and we're really pleased to see a bunch of LPs, VCs, founders, ecosystem friends and advocates, as well as the Google team here to support and see some fun businesses and have some good conversation here today. We're not just going to let them have a nice, easy presentation and show some nice visuals. We've got a crack panel who are going to give them a bit of a grilling. We've got Beadmore from Antler. We've got Laura Falconer from X15 and Mike Langford from the Google Cloud team. So I really want to say thank you to the Google. Oh, wrong way. Sorry. So I really want to say thank you so much to the Google team for being a part of this space. But more importantly, we share the same vision and mission, helping Australian startups to be successful, grow internationally, and be those real proof points for the ecosystem and market. This is actually a bit of a homecoming for me. I was part of the Google team back when we moved to this office in 2009, a bit embarrassing to say. There was 60 people, we had a couple of floors, and I would love to claim that I made a mark on the Google business, but what I know is I did make a mark on the Google office. One of the floors was uninhabited when we first moved in, and we used to play cricket there at lunchtime. And one slightly ill-timed hook meant there's a dent in the wall that had to get refilled in a slightly different color that's from that era. I haven't been back to visit whether it's still there, but that's my mark, and hopefully I won't get taken out of the building from the Google guys from having admitted that bit. But anyway, Antler, less about me wrecking places. What we've done in Australia over the last few years, so we've invested in more than 100 companies. There's more than 700 people who have been through the flagship residency program. We're in 3 Australian locations, not just here in Sydney, but Melbourne and Brisbane as well. And we're part of our Fund 2, which is oversubscribed, and we're out deploying that into the businesses that you'll see this evening. And then globally for Antler, this is 30 cities, nearly 1,200 companies, nearly 4 billion of portfolio value, nearly $1 billion raised. And those are kind of the VC type numbers, but what's actually real is 9,000 people employed from those businesses. And although anything less than 50% isn't good enough, 30% with women co-founder is a starting point for this. And then although we're not an impact investor by trade, turns out when you get cool people doing stuff at the nerdy stage, impact is what often comes out. So over 40% of those businesses would be classified as impact businesses. And then what that means for us is we're the capital partner from inception, so first check-in, but all the way to Series C through local funds and global opportunity funds. So then it's how do we actually do that? So one is that long-term capital partner that I mentioned, but it all starts at day zero. So either for entrepreneurs who have a view of what they're doing, but also those who are looking for a co-founder, this is where our residency program with understanding ways to meet co-founder, expert interviews, networks, growth, and the capital to grow is what enables that to be successful. And we're proud that there's many of the people we've co-invested with in the audience here tonight, whether RLPs or other VCs in the Australian ecosystem. So what's going to happen tonight? We've got seven companies that are going to come up. They get 3 minutes. Our esteemed panel will give them a bit of a grilling, and then you can be able to connect with them via a QR code, which will be up playing, particularly for those online. For those of you who are here, all of them will be in and around. You know how to make a conversation. You'll be able to find them at their great stations outside. So with that, time to get going. I would love to invite the esteemed panelists up to the stage. Firstly, Beadmore, Chief Commercial Officer for Antler and the OG of Antler in Australia. Secondly, Laura Falconer, who's the GM for X15 Ventures. And lastly but not leastly, Mike Langford, who is our gracious host and runs VC and ecosystems for JPAC at Google Cloud. Panel, you ready? Let's go.
Resale in the circular economy has exploded and it continues to grow at pace. But customers are usually left to fend for themselves on marketplaces that really struggle to strike that balance of quality supply and listing volume. Also, brands miss out on that opportunity to highlight their new offerings and get new revenue for those customers. Authentified connects those brand purchases to marketplaces, handles the resale on behalf of consumers in just a few clicks, and gives those brands an opportunity to highlight new products to their customers, driving new revenue. This is a compelling, differentiated product vision on how to improve resale whilst giving the original brands an opportunity to participate. We're convinced this is the team to go solve the problem. Ben and David introducing Authentified.
Thank you, Antler. My name is Ben Chamberlain, co-founder and CEO of Authentified. Authentified is helping to connect brands to the world of resale by providing a really efficient digital consignment solution that helps customers to circulate their pre-loved fashion. What we observed is that brands are holding the two most valuable parts of a really successful secondhand ecosystem: the customer transaction records and the product metadata. But they're holding it behind a giant brick wall. And on the other side of that brick wall are these established and emerging secondhand marketplaces. And that's been fine. For most brands, secondhand has really been a rounding error, not particularly impacting on their customers. But now secondhand marketplaces are generating $200 billion worth of sales, and that's expected to grow to $350 billion over the next 4 years. And with that growth, the cracks are starting to appear and to emerge, both with the brands customers, and certainly with the marketplaces who are in a fight for high quality volume of supply. And it's not as if there aren't options for consumers. The problem is that they're either too expensive or they're simply too hard. For all of us in the room, 80% of our wardrobe is unlikely to be worn statistically. When the main reason that we sell secondhand fashion is to buy more fashion, that feels like a really interesting opportunity for brands. We truly believe that if we can help a brand to inspire, support, and reward their customers for selling their secondhand fashion, that the rewards will be endless for the brands. More primary sales from more customers, much better, rich data set on post-purchase behavior and activity, and a new revenue stream. And this is how we intend to do it. A Decuba customer can right now log into Decuba and see all the things they've ever bought, online and in store. The pilot customers that we're working with can go one step further, and they can click a button that says Consign with Authentified against any of those items. And in that one click, all of that rich, beautiful metadata is pulled through so that all that customer has to do is add a current photo, tell us a little bit about the condition, and everything else is taken care of by Authentified. Once that item is sold on some of the world's best marketplaces, we're proud to be working with eBay, both the buyer and the seller of that secondhand item are given a reward from the brand to draw them back to Decuba in this instance, to help them to make their next primary purchase decision with that brand. We've consigned our first 62 items, and we're really proud of the results that we've been able to achieve. The biggest highlight is it's taken less than 30 seconds for those customers to consign each item of fashion. And for anyone in the room that's tried to sell something on eBay or a Depop, that's a significant time saving. But we think that we can do more. And the way that we're going to do more is by connecting with more brands who are going to connect us with more customers. We're so proud to be working with Decuba on a 2-month pilot. And as we look to transition that into a term agreement, we've got a whole bunch of other brands that are watching and waiting to see how that goes. David and I have known each other for more than 10 years. And if I think about David's experience, 27 years as a software engineer, with a lot of that time spent with really high quality Australian brands. Indeed, the last several years, he's been head of engineering at a wonderful Australian fashion brand headquartered out of Melbourne. I've spent more than half of my career working directly with retail brands on a whole variety of solutions around financial services, professional services, and over the last several years, building out software to help with retail operations. We're only 2 months old, but we really feel that we can make secondhand fashion a first-class experience for everyone, and we would like to invite you to come on that journey with us. Thank you very much.
Well done. Enjoyed the pitch. Even more, I enjoyed the live demo outside that you gave me worked. So encourage others to check that out afterwards. I can see how scaling to more brands gives you defensibility, presuming that they're sticky. Can you talk to me about network effect, how scaling to more users creates more value to the users?
Sure. Our ultimate goal is to be where the customers are and to help a brand to be where their customers are. So our first positioning for that is to draw the customer back to the brand so that they can help to instill this philosophy around support during the secondhand experience. But we imagine a world when that customer is also a customer of a multitude of brands. And there's going to come a time when that customer expects more than to have to go to each individual brand to get the authentified experience. So as we start to think about that, there's a whole variety of ways that we imagine that we can support that customer journey in a way that is still brand first. Ultimately, we want to support brands with their ability to support their customers. But there is a world where a customer could log on to eBay, decide that they're going to sell an item, and be presented with all of the items that they own across a whole variety of different brands, and for us to be part of that network effect that helps to drive further activity.
Thank you. Over to you, Mike.
So talk me through a little bit more about the business model. Presumably there's a clip of the ticket between Authentified and between the consumer and the marketplace. Like how much does a consumer end up paying as part of that?
Yeah, so if a consumer was to log onto eBay and look to sell an item that they own, they'd pay between 13 and 14% as a base level fee. The consumer using the Authentified tool via Cuba will pay 10%. Half of that is going to the marketplace. The other half is being distributed between the brand and Authentified. The reason that we're able to do that for 10% and still be selling on eBay is that we offer eBay something that they can't otherwise get, which is high volume, high quality inventory. So what we're starting to see is the early signs of the benefits that we're able to provide into the marketplace ecosystem to say, hey, we can help you solve this problem of the future supply of high quality secondhand merchandise. So for the consumer, they're staring down the barrel at a 10% commission. And if we try and compare that to some of their alternative solutions, it looks like it's going to cost them less or certainly no more than what they would incur if they were doing it themselves.
That's awesome. I'm sold. Where do I buy? Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate it.
Enroller is a vocational education comparison tool that delivers personalised recommendations for students at scale. The company is founded by an exceptionally strong team comprising a generally deep domain expert in Joe, with experience across education, comparison and marketing, and a strong technical leader builder in Yvette. They have shown sophisticated tactical knowledge that will help them build the platform and have shown very promising early traction. Throughout the DD process, the Enroller team robustly tested its market, product and model and adjusted accordingly. We believe they have the grit and drive to build a very valuable business. Here is Enroller.
Thanks so much, Mike, and thank you everyone for coming today. I'm Jo Thomas, the CEO and co-founder of Enroller, and I'm really looking forward to taking you through a little bit about our journey so far. We're very much on a mission to get more students into life-changing education. And I suspect that for the high achievers in this room, that choosing a career and an education path was maybe not that difficult. But for the vast majority of school leavers and also career changers, it can be an impossibly difficult task. For many of them, they lack the framework or the confidence to make a decision. There is a really high cost of getting it wrong in terms of money, time, and confidence. And so as a result, many of them choose to do nothing. And that means they're stuck. They're stuck underemployed, unemployed, or unable to achieve their potential. On the other side of the equation, education providers struggle to recruit quality students at scale and cost effectively. And nowhere is this dynamic more true than the massive Australian vocational education market. There is $16 billion spent on fees every year in vocational education. 3,500 registered training organisations teaching 4.5 million students annually. It's low tech, despite its size, low transparency, and absolutely plagued with inefficiencies. And that means that it is ripe for a new solution and for disruption. Enroller is really on a mission to transform that chaos, and we do it using, frankly, a really simple process. So the first thing we do is we understand what a student is actually looking for. We then use our domain expertise and our proprietary knowledge and our algorithm to match them with the right course from a quality curated panel of providers. We use our human and AI course advisors to guide them through that process to make sure that they know what they need to know and can make that decision with confidence. It means that when we hand them over to a provider, they're committed, ready to go, and the provider gets a good student that they're prepared to pay up to $1,600 to us for. We knew that we were going to have to prove this, and so we went live pretty early after leaving Antler. We've achieved strong market validation since then, and I've been told to highlight that these are real numbers, not projections. So we've enrolled, apparently they look fake. We've enrolled 100 students so far, and that means we've enrolled, I've got to get better at that, $500,000 of fees in just the 5 months since we launched. We've generated $50K of revenue for ourselves, and we're getting 25% month-on-month growth. Most importantly, we're at break-even CAC, even with our MVP and using manual human course advisors. We're getting a 2 times return on our ad spend, and that's only relying on Google in terms of finding students where they are. So we are very much the team to make it happen, and yes, we are 2 women. I have spent the bulk of my career in comparison at iSelect and Compare the Market, and then as the CEO of a private equity-backed education company. And Yvette has spent 17 years doing global software development across payment processing, e-commerce, and also banking. And so she can deliver the platform that we need. So together, we have that combination of domain expertise, but also the technical prowess to make Enroller thrive. Now, we are biased, obviously, but we have conviction that Enroller is uniquely positioned to seize on this massive opportunity. $16 billion fragmented market, break-even CAC and 25% month-on-month growth, and the right team to make it happen. So we would love for you to follow us along on our journey to get more people into life-changing education.
Thanks. Thanks very much, Jo. Unfortunately, I've been scarred in life ever since a Year 12 career counsellor told me to be a management consultant. So I'm really interested to know, how does somebody using Enroller know that they are getting good advice from you about the course that they take? And then, as an associated question, what is going to make large numbers of people want to use this?
Sure. So I'll answer the first one, and then I'll come back to the second one. It's really the combination of, so first up it's the quality curated panel. And so we look at government data in terms of completions, customer satisfaction, so it's conveniently available. We also mystery shop all of our providers, make sure that their process of enrolling a student is seamless. And in fact, we're close to offboarding one of our suppliers already because they're not. And so that's sort of item number one. The second piece is that we understand what they need to know when they don't even know the questions that they want to ask. And so as much as the quiz looks simple, underneath it is this algorithm that knows the minute detail that matters for them where they are right now. So I'll use an example of someone going into aged care, for example. So if you're already in the industry, then you don't want to have to spend 120 hours doing unpaid placement. So we'll find a provider who will recognise your paid work instead of doing 3 weeks for free. On the flip side, if you're not in the industry, you're going to need help to find that placement because you can't finish the course without it. And often that's what leads into the job. And so it's these unique insights that we're able to both deliver to the student, but to help them understand, because the courses themselves are commoditised. So there are 217 providers of the most enrolled in course in Australia, and it's exactly the same from a content point of view. So it's actually how it's delivered, the quality of which it's delivered, and the job outcomes is what makes the difference, rather than how cool the online learning experience is. So it's knowing that helps us sort of help them make that right decision. And then the second one, how do we find them at scale? Was that the question? Education is not a flippant decision. So you're not scrolling Facebook or looking at a cat video and then like, hey, I'm going to devote 6 months of my life and hundreds of hours of time on an off chance. And so we're really focused on finding students at that moment of decision. And so from sort of a paid perspective, actually search is critical for us. People are quite focused on what they're looking for from a career changer point of view. And then the other cohort is school leavers. So how do you go and find people at that moment of decision when they're talking to their career counsellor and maybe they're going to get a 55 ATAR And the career counsellor, probably not you, someone who's getting a 55 and the career counsellor's like, you could be a tradie, because everyone thinks that vocational education is just tradies. So how do we partner with career counsellors? How do we build a content-based platform that means you can actually understand the breadth of careers that is out there for you, and then we provide the path for you to actually get there. And so we think that that's going to be a really interesting play. And then the second is partnerships. People do courses. Very few people are legit lifelong learners. They do it because they want a career outcome. So recruitment agencies, large employers, how do we partner with them to get the right people in, particularly in a low unemployment market?
So I actually did my research on this one, my pre-work. I went onto your website yesterday.
Terrifying.
And followed the process, actually searched for a course in entrepreneurship. Could be a cross-sell opportunity for Antler there, actually. And it seems relatively straightforward, right? Fill in a form, get some matches back. Like, what do you see now is right in the timing from a timing perspective, whether it's market or the tech? And on the tech side, just interested to know how you're using AI or thinking about using AI, because it feels like there are some great opportunities within that space.
Yeah, it is. So I think there's some real tailwinds from a government policy and also a skills shortage perspective, but also the crackdown in immigration. So education providers that were heavily reliant on international students now need domestic students, and they have no capability, so that's great. Up to, I think it's 85% of people are going to require a vocational or a degree to do the jobs of the future, and so more and more people are needing to do that. And the government funding models support people getting into courses that lead to good job outcomes where we have skill shortages. And so they're the sort of tailwinds in terms of why now is the opportunity. And then I think the AI piece is interesting because historically, and at my background at Isolate and Compare the Market, it was online funnel, get into a call centre, call. And there are two dynamics that mean that we don't see that is going to be the core of this business. And I think we probably went into it because it was my background, thinking maybe it would. But the birth of LLMs and generative AI mean that you can create human-like experiences that, and in fact, my amazing co-founder has trained a chatbot on me on how to be encouraging and help people support, and people engage with it like it's a person. And so how do you create human-like experiences to help people with that confidence and decision without the cost and inconsistency of having a gazillion humans? And I think the second dynamic is that the people that you used to telemarket are too old now. The people who are engaging with education, I mean, they're millennials and Gen Ys, and they don't pick up the phone. So how do you create an experience online that means they can make their own decision, that's supported? And if you do need to reach out to them, how do you do it in a digital way so that you meet them where they are?
And have a conversation with them in emojis.
We use emojis, and interestingly, conversational SMS has been great for us.
I think that's right. Like as you think about that conversational component to it, I actually then tried to type into Gemini, like find me a course using the same sort of things. And you can see the importance of having that expertise and knowledge sitting behind it rather than just a general, Google search, which would be alternative.
We did get that question a lot early days. Like, why can't people just use OpenAI? And it's like, because the data that helps you make the decision is not public. And so the models don't have it in it. So how do we teach them?
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
For creators, marketers, and educators, to cater for a global audience, they're required to manage multiple videos, languages, and platforms. Brave is an advanced online video hosting, editing, and streaming platform that allows marketers to customize, caption, translate, and dub their videos using AI, which allows their audience to choose how and in what language they consume their content. The Brave team is made up of complementary co-founders, Ben and James. They've shown great resilience, hustle in testing and validating the business, but also building things out further. We know that this is rapidly evolving and a highly VC backable space. V.io raised 35 mil from Sequoia. We've got strong conviction that Brave can attract similar success. Welcome to the Brave ones.
The Brave ones. I might just use that. Hello. No. Thank you. Hello, we are Brave on a mission to streamline the process for organizations to engage global audiences through video. At Brave, we recognize two key issues in the AI video landscape. First, whilst the technologies for captioning, translating, and dubbing videos are rapidly improving, these solutions are fragmented, requiring users to juggle multiple files across multiple platforms. And secondly, there's no video hosting solution dedicated to the delivery of multi-language video. And so despite all these advancements, 8 out of 10 organizations still don't consider translation and dubbing of video in their marketing strategies, meaning that they are missing out on the 75% of the internet users that don't speak English. And that's exactly why we are building Brave, the world's first AI-enabled video hosting platform that integrates all of these technologies and then delivers your translated and dubbed video through our customizable multi-language video player that we call Brave Player. Our vision is that our users simply import their content to Brave, set it to a custom workflow, and in the time it takes to grab a coffee, their content is captioned, dubbed, and delivered on their website through Brave Player. One platform, one video, no juggling multiple files and videos. And that's just our first product in market, because we recognize that organizations require the use of other platforms to connect with their customers. So with Brave Share, we can also automate how your dubbed content can be deployed out to all of your social media platforms. And also in turn, using Brave Insights, we can then gather all of these viewing metrics and provide language-based analytics and AI-provided feedback in plain English or whatever language our users prefer. We see our platform at the intersection of AI dubbing, corporate video, and social sharing. But we differentiate ourselves with our integrated AI infrastructure and automation workflows. Now, since January, we have validated our solution across a multitude of industries, including real estate, property development, education, and government services. We built and released a freemium version of Brave Player in March, and more recently, we've just reached our 1,000 user cap for our beta program to test our full captioning and dubbing workflows. And we reached that 1,000 figure within 3 weeks of opening up applications. Post our beta, we expect to monetize in August to help scale out to broader markets via referrals and via partnerships with digital agencies across APAC and Europe. Our team consists of myself, Ben, with a long history of technical sales, most recently with Apple, and our CTO, James, who has 20 years technical expertise, including working with platform integrations. And we are both a couple of geeks, just to boot. Now, you are all too late to join our beta program. Sorry for that. But if you do want to find out other ways that you can get involved in our journey, please find us at our stand, where you can enjoy an interactive demo. Really proud to say that we've already had a bunch of wows, and I'm amazed so far. So please come and chat to us. We think you'll love it. So with that, thank you so much for your time. Here's to you, and here's to the brave ones.
I'd really like to twist your arm a little bit to see if I can get into that beta program. But for me, an important consideration when looking at early stage investments is like founder problem fit. Can you talk to me a little bit about why your founding team is the right one to be tackling and scaling this?
Yeah, okay. Look, I'll start by saying that James and I like to think of us as a bit of a yin and yang in terms of technical capabilities, technical's him, by the way, and sales and strategy. So we complement ourselves really, really well, but that doesn't answer your question. So I'll start with James specifically. Firstly, he's got 15 odd years, I believe it is, especially with QUT, so Queensland University of Technology, working in technology integrations and platform integrations, which is essentially the cornerstone of what we're building at Brave. We are taking the best of the best LLMs out there, we are integrating them and automating them through a platform, which obviously we are calling Brave. So James has already proven himself out. In 6 months, we have a beta, and it is working, and you will be wowed. I promise you that much. Myself, I'm just obsessed with streamlining processes, always have been. As a salesperson by trade, I want to make my life and everyone else's lives as easy as possible. So my obsession with user interface and experience, that's what brought me to Apple. And now I want to be able to bring that to the world with language, which we both, James and I both believe is going to have a huge impact in online education. Education is essentially what James and I are built upon, and it is our North Star. So we're very passionate about this space and being able to make a huge change and revolutionizing how online education can be enhanced by this technology.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. This is actually quite a hot space, which I wouldn't have guessed, but is the case. And I'm interested, like, for an incoming customer, what is it that really differentiates Brave? Like, what is it? Why am I making the purchase decision with Brave?
I actually really love that question. When you're referring to competitors, I assume you're referring to the AI dubbing. It is rapidly evolving, and we're seeing a lot of organizations focusing either on AI dubbing as an infrastructure, as a deep tech technology, or as part of, let's say, the editing of a video. So VEED was mentioned by James in that video just now. And we love that. We welcome them because they're creating more of the problem that we are there to actually solve, which is the actual delivery and sharing and streamlining of all of those processes out for those that actually want to use it in the real world. We are literally the only video hosting platform that seamlessly integrates all these technologies and allows users to literally choose what language, what captions, and how they want to view and hopefully learn from the information that they watch. So yeah, we're focused on the very end of that supply chain, and we believe that is going to be the single biggest differentiator for us in this space.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ben.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Here's to the brave ones.
Dark Patterns Lab streamlines website compliance by auditing all regulated elements of digital interaction, from dark patterns to fine print. For legal professionals or product managers, this means they can ensure they can operate confidently in a rapidly evolving regulatory environment. We believe this business may have their timing spot on. Dark patterns are an emerging problem with government enforcement kicking off in many jurisdictions. Co-founder Swetha is a leader in what is an emerging problem for any e-commerce business. Here is Dark Patterns Lab.
Hi everyone. So my name is Shweta Meenal. I'm a privacy lawyer and the co-founder of Dark Patterns Lab, where we're building an AI-assisted solution to help businesses with UI design compliance. So I worked as a research fellow at the University of Melbourne for about a couple of years, and I took a deep dive into the subject of dark patterns. I've written and published extensively on this, presented at international fora, advised statutory bodies on this, and I know one thing for sure, that the coming wave of consumer protection regulation is going to be tougher and stricter than that of the GDPR even, but businesses aren't prepared for what's to come. So me and my co-founder Ali Tusi, who's a software engineer, decided to build a solution to help businesses. But before I tell you what it is that we're building, a quick primer on what dark patterns are. So we've all been confused by website design or how information is presented to us sometimes, right? In that we quickly make a purchase, subscribe to a service and don't really realize that, or consent to a data collection notice that we don't have to. Now, such design elements that can be tricky or persuade us into making a decision that can benefit businesses are called dark patterns. Now, intentionally or unintentionally, businesses use this because they make for excellent commercial strategy, to be very honest, and make them better off. So just in 2023, Australian businesses made about $8 billion in profits from use of dark patterns alone. And it's not hard to tell that globally this number would touch at least about $500 billion. Now, another reason why businesses do this is because UI elements were never regulated up until this point. Now, for the first time since the advent of e-commerce, deploying dark patterns will attract anywhere between 6 to 30% of a company's turnover as penalties. On top of that, businesses are also being forced to issue refunds to consumers. It's catastrophic for businesses. So everybody's looking for a solution that can help them comply, but also give them the confidence to play around and experiment with new commercial strategies within the bounds of their risk appetite. Now that's exactly what we're building at Dark Patterns Lab. Our AI-assisted dark pattern detection tool can do 3 things for businesses. First, it can instantly detect any legal violations on your website, your emails, your marketing promotional materials, all of your consumer-facing materials really, without you having to wait for weeks and weeks to hear back from your lawyer. Second, all of these insights are tailored for every market that a business operates in, so you can always optimize your materials for maximum profits. Third, we also enable businesses, their product teams, market teams, and legal teams to collaborate on the platform and then discuss strategy and be able to put your best foot forward. So it's also for this reason that we're going to the market through law firms. Law firms have an existing portfolio of clients that already require help, and all of the feedback and insights that we get from lawyers are being channeled into a product as we're getting ready for a direct B2B launch. At about the 20th month mark, when we've scanned enough businesses and we have a rich database, we'll be able to help businesses about the best practices and tell them about the most competitive, compliant practices to really help them thrive in such a heavily regulated market. And that is only the beginning of what we're doing at Dark Patterns Lab. So if this has piqued your interest, please come and chat with me so you can be part of our journey as we democratize compliance. This shouldn't be hard or scary. So let's make the complex simple and really empower product teams. Thank you.
Thanks, Shweta. Unfortunately, in my experience, it's been a lot easier to give lawyers money than to get money from lawyers. How do you know they're actually going to buy? They're a challenging client. Like, what's the entry point, and do they really convert?
Yeah, that's a great question. So initially, we thought product teams and product heads would be our primary customers. But every product team that we've spoken to believe that this tool is best used in tandem with their lawyers, in-house or external. Having said that, majority of the law firms that we've approached with the demo has agreed to a pilot. And to us, that in itself is an admission of the fact that there's a problem and that they're looking for smarter, more efficient solutions. Also, product teams are running to lawyers asking for a more proactive approach and more proactive audits. But lawyers and law firms at the moment do not have the luxury of time or the right tools to be able to offer them that. So at best, they put together a rule book and then pass that on to the product teams. But they're not happy with that. They want to talk. They want to ask about strategy. They want to ask about how to best push their boundaries. But they have to wait for at least 8 weeks, because that's the time it takes for lawyers to put together a risk profile, have that pass through the internal hierarchy before they can chat with businesses about that. But with a dark patterns-enabled compliance, the time that it takes for them to help one client, they're going to be able to help the portfolio of their clients and even earn a few more. So it's actually speaking to the lawyers that will help us get to the product teams, because they trust their lawyers. And as far as their lawyers trust us, we don't see why in about a year from now, they'll just be able to push this onto their product teams and say, hey, just use this tool to self-audit and come to us when you have questions and want to consult on strategy. So that's what we see happening.
It's a great answer, thanks.
Thank you.
I love the fact that you used that screenshot of the Amazon. I've been caught twice on that. Like once in
Yeah.
.co.uk as well. I was paying to my UK account without even realizing it. It's amazing how quickly they refund you the money when you complain as well.
Yeah.
Next time I'll know to call them out for dark patterns. You mentioned that it feels like you're ahead of the wave, right? Like this is regulation that's coming. You mentioned GDPR. I was in the UK when that came out, and it was a huge amount of scramble to try and start to get GDPR compliant. Where is it in the process? Like, are there markets currently where it is now law?
Yeah.
And when do you see Australia coming through to having that as well?
That's a great question. So yes, there are markets where this is already law. Regulations being led by EU. There's a new act called Digital Services Act that's causing a lot of uncertainty because it's so broadly worded, and there is not a specific list of prohibition that businesses can check off of. In addition to that, these laws are already active in the US as well, and soon in India, UK, and in Australia. This is expected to be law by the end of the year. But Australia is such an interesting jurisdiction. Although the term dark patterns is not mentioned anywhere in the black letter law, a bunch of Australian businesses have already been fined starting from September last year to now, and a couple of them are actually facing court battles, and we're working with their lawyers as well. And interestingly, what's happening is that enforcement bodies are also looking for technologies that would help them scan about 400,000 websites on the same day and be on top of that. So we see this regulation becoming stricter and tougher. So it's a great time for us to launch our product.
Yeah, great timing. Thank you
so much. Thank
great.
You.
Community Labs is an AI-powered community engagement platform that collects insights across all channels and formats and then converts them into actionable strategies. We have a really strong opinion of the founding team, Dan and Steve. They display expert knowledge of the problems of their users, and they're genuinely passionate about this space. What really sparked our excitement about Community Labs was the traction they've gained, the validation from their sales pipeline, and a real hot trajectory we saw through the program. We believe this is a great opportunity to disrupt some long-standing, slow-moving, pre-averages businesses in an underserved space. So introducing Community Labs.
Hi, and welcome to Community Labs. So we are, as James just put it, we're an AI-powered data analytics platform. We allow project teams to collate insights and convert them into actionable strategies. So we service organizations with a large community footprint, like utilities, government, infrastructure, property, and more. $20 billion over the past decade has been wasted due to poor community engagement here in Australia. Now we're in an infrastructure boom with forecasted government spend of $35 trillion over the next 20 years, but delays of up to 33% are common for infrastructure projects worldwide. Our value prop is simple. We improve team efficiency while mitigating risk on these high-value projects. So we know that the cost of doing poor engagement is high, and our clients encounter complexity due to the lack of data uniformity across communications channels. It's a manual job collating insights in Excel. It's inefficient and painful. Sydney Water, for example, delivers 1,000 projects a year, and they need to manually read through and code all of that feedback data. So this is where we step in. At Community Labs, we ingest data sets from all sources, in real life and online. Clients can run qualitative and quantitative queries on one or many projects across the organization instantly. Our system automates analysis, speeding up time to report by a factor of 300. Not only has new legislation come into play, placing increased demands on our customers, but trust is down and engagement practice is growing. Our clients must demonstrate a higher level of accountability when handling diverse and vulnerable groups, ensuring that they're being engaged with properly. So we're looking at a 36% population growth forecasted by 2050, much of which is coming via migration. So we know that, also I wanted to mention local data storage and processing, that's a really big deal in this space as well. We know, to put it bluntly, the cost of screwing this up is going to increase, and there's a huge pipeline of work in this space globally. So we've identified over 1,000 qualified leads that are ready to be taken through our pipeline, our sales pipeline. We're currently running 5 pilots, including with the City of Melbourne, who's a leader and trendsetter for best practice in local government and beyond. We have a 12-month roadmap that's geared for growth. So we're currently priming customers through discovery sales while we fine-tune our platform, and through customer-led development. So this is growing our wait list with customers who are really, really excited to get on the platform. We're also partnering with peak bodies, practitioner working groups, and consulting firms to keep the funnel charged and to spread the good word. So this is myself. I'm Steve, by the way, and Dan. We're a classic combo of sales-driven CEO and full-stack CTO. So I compounded the expansion of my last business 3 times over. Dan is a data performance specialist with deep expertise working with government and enterprise clients. Fast forward 5 years, and every major project in the country is using Community Labs. We'd love to connect with you tonight. We would love to hear your feedback as we lead the 4th wave in insights analytics. Scan the QR code for a little bit more information about us and to connect, or come and have a chat with us in the foyer afterwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Facing into heaps of market research myself at the moment, so maybe wider than just local government groups. But every marketing or market agency that's supporting with customer research that has enough revenue would be investing in these kinds of tools as well. how do you think about those types of potential competitors versus potential acquirers?
Sure. Thank you for that. So our tool is quite unique. So there's a lot of competitive tools and agencies where they're pulling in data from a specific source. So let's just say, online surveys, for example. And so a really unique aspect to our technology is that we are being format agnostic, and we're pulling in data sets from a lot of different sources. So we're really focused on building an awesome product. That's super important to us. Sorry, what was the second part of your question?
There's lots of agencies out there, like Askable as an example, that do customer research as a service across lots of channels. How do you think about companies like that that are also investing in technologies in terms of competitors versus potentially acquirers?
Yeah, so I think, to be honest, the technology that we're building is going to be super attractive down the track. But at this point, we're hyper-focused on growth, building a great product. Yeah.
You mentioned use cases there of working with local councils, local governments who have to process a lot of this data. We all know how fun it is to try and sell into governments. Like, how do you see you scaling the platform in a low-cost, low-touch way?
Yeah. So a really easy way to look at this, there's a couple ways. All of the really big projects go to consultants. And so partnering with consulting firms is a great way to get us in front of a heap of really good customers. And so, we might partner with a consulting firm. Let's just say Nous works with a lot of local government and state and federal on different projects, and they're pretty keen to jump on board. And so, through them, their clients are going to see the power of what we're building, and it's very likely that some of their customers are going to end up flowing on in our direction. The other thing that's worth noting is network effect. And so in community engagement in particular, everybody knows everybody, and everybody wants to be doing better. They can see a vision for what better looks like, and they want to be doing better engagement. And so these are really passionate people, right? And so they look to some of the best practice organizations, some like to consultancies, and also some of the better, let's just say, local government organizations like the City of Melbourne, for example, and they look to them and say, oh, what are they doing? Oh, they're using this cool new thing. I think maybe we should get on board. And everyone talks to one another through practitioner working groups, for example, so the word spreads like wildfire, and we've already seen that happening. We did a conference in Sydney in February, and before we were an official Antler portfolio company. We started doing our short little presentation, and everybody's head went up and was just like, we need to figure out what this is and see if we can use this because it sounds super powerful.
Great job. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Pactify is building a contract creator and workflow management tool to help talent managers close deals quickly and economically. Over the course of the DD process, we've been impressed by the team's drive and hustle and have developed high conviction in their ability to engage directly with customers and sell their solution. The need for this business is clear, and there are no obvious kill pills. At the time of our investment, Pactify had a strong set of LOIs, a paid sale of the MVP, and strong engagement from potential clients. We believe this business will be global from day one. Welcome, Pactify.
Evening, guys. Good evening. Thank you, Mike, for those kind words. I'll slip you the $5 after this. I'm super excited. So we ended our IC journey last month, and I'm really keen to get into what we learned during that journey and what the future holds for us within the creator economy and within Pactify. So in really simple terms, we make creator talent management easier by streamlining agreement creation and then branching them out into workflows. So what is a talent manager? This is Hannah. Hannah is the Jerry Maguire of influencers. A little bit taller than Tom Cruise, though. She's the founder of a leading Australian talent management agency for fashion and beauty influencers. For her portfolio of creators, she's managing up to 1,000 deals a year, and each of these deals can take up to 3 months just to finalize. The crazy thing is there's 350,000 talent managers just like Hannah worldwide, all playing in this really amazing creator economy, which is growing rapidly, presenting a real opportunity for Pactify to get into the dirty work and the weeds of the economy. So knowing all this, we drilled a lot deeper into the problem. We spoke to over 40 talent managers, and what was revealed to us was like this really unnecessary operating procedure that kind of stems from actors back in the day having a talent manager and they're getting, one big deal a year. For the creator economy, this simply just doesn't suffice. Like, the bigger picture is the time and the money spent on arduous tasks are frustrating for them, and they're frustrating enough that they're willing to pay for a solution. The solution is our CRM. We streamline talent management. We cover the entire workflow of a deal. By simply integrating an agreement with Pactify, we then manage all the relevant time and money-consuming pain points of the deal process. Our traction was super encouraging really early on. We had revenue in the door early with our really simple agreement creator. And then for our CRM, we made sure to chase really detailed LOIs, each of them giving us a price that they're willing to pay. With just the LOIs itself, we have over 1,000 creators handling 15,000 deals a year. On top of this, we have 4 marketing agencies that are willing to distribute Pactify. So marketing agencies have really high-touch interactions with influencer talent managers, and they feel that wave effect of inefficiency, so they're willing to distribute our product. So how do we get this in front of our ICP and beyond? Well, we know that high-touch sales for our SaaS tiered business is just, it's not scalable, right? Like, productizing and strategic partnerships with influencer marketing agencies is really where we start making the money here. I mean, so we've built a model internally where we have continuous experimentation to ensure that we find the best channel to distribute our product. By focusing on the deal itself and focusing on the workflow of that deal, we can actually play in all management verticals as well as creators actually managing themselves. My licensing background navigates these really complex international deals. I think this gives us an edge for what the creator economy is now, but also what it will be in 10 years. Put on top of this, my education at Cambridge and my education around intellectual property commercialization. And what we have is this like really cool tangential approach into an immature industry that I think is really lacking at the moment. My co-founder, Nagendra, has a really proven track record. He's got successful startup experience in building products just like Pactify. I think together we have the ability to be agile and to deliver on our LOIs and more. So we've just begun to work with our LOI product group to develop the CRM with a beta release over the next 4 months. And we're kicking off our subsequent raise to really boost our market penetration and develop the best solution possible. We're Pactify, the business behind the creators end to end. Thank you.
Really interesting, thank you. I love a good specific wedge. It sounds like you've found an angle to tackle. I'd love to understand your product roadmap a little bit more. Like, where to from here? Do you see this as a standalone product or part of a larger suite of products?
Yeah, I like a wedge too. And we really made sure that we're going against like a really specific target market here. We didn't really screw around with anything else. But in terms of our product roadmap, it's really dependent on our customer conversations. Like, we wanted to target the biggest and strongest pain and go from there. We know within a CRM, there are so many features that you can build into it. So for us, that pain was the agreements and the tasks required to make that deal happen. So to start with, we're really working on our MVP, which is creating agreements. And then we're working on the task management aspect of being a talent manager. In the future, there are so much we can do. I think it was on the slide there. There's negotiations, there's payments, there's deliverables. There's a lot we can get into. But for now, we really want to make sure that we're targeting customer conversation pain and then going from there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rahul. I'm a bit of a skeptic. Surely these agreements are just pro forma. Like, what is the pain here for the talent manager that means that when you call them, they want to pick up your phone call?
Yeah, sure. So for a talent manager, there are multiple pain points. So kind of as I said, like this whole system of like actors having managers. Deals, while like you're right, some of them are pro forma, a lot of them are also very complex. And what we're seeing is deals are actually getting more complex as the creator economy expands. We're seeing the stuff like Prime, the stuff like Mr. Beast chocolates. It's no longer just a, hey, Bede, post this on Instagram for me. It might get a couple of likes. There's a lot more to it now. In terms of the actual pain for talent managers, that's where like the time and the money comes in. We've really done our best to make sure that we quantify the time and the money, and we know that our CRM fixes that. I think probably the main point is that for all the 14 talent managers that we reached out to sign a LOI, all of them did. Like they identified with the pain and they said, this is the amount I'm willing to pay for it as well. So yeah.
Great pain relief. Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Axiom's on a mission to decarbonise water and improve water outcomes within Australian industries. They've invented a patent-pending solution called Hydrocool, which converts industrial wastewater into high-quality fresh water at just half the cost. We're bullish on these co-founders, Tia and Bajan, combination of deep technical expertise. They've developed proprietary IP and a strong commercial acumen, which really gives them an unfair advantage in this space. The team's consistently displayed that they learn rapidly. They've achieved significant early traction with Grant's exciting pilots in place. We believe this is a huge market, highly topical space, and we're excited to see where the team takes this. Introducing an Axiom.
Hi, I'm Tia Collins. I'm the co-founder of Anaxiom and excited to show you guys what we're building. So at Anaxiom, we can create ultra-pure water at half the cost. And we can even do this by utilising highly polluted industrial wastewater and converting it to ultra-pure water. And for those of you that might not be in the industry, which I assume many of you are not, that is not an easy thing to do. So not only can we compete on price if we choose to, but we also solve a number of other issues as well for industry players. So we can reduce the energy consumption for water treatment. We can also do that for their cooling processes as well. We can take almost any water source and convert it into ultra-pure water. And we can do that because we use a very novel material which has anti-scaling and anti-corrosion properties to it. And we can also minimise pre-treatment and post-treatment as well, which means we lower costs and we also increase operational efficiency because you're not having to deal with lots of different systems, you're just dealing with one system. So what is Hydrocool? So Hydrocool is a thermal-based water treatment system. We do not use a membrane. And there's two key novelties to know about the system. So the first one is that we utilise low-grade waste heat instead of electricity to run. And while we use that heat, we actually cool a process down. And we have a patent on our ability to do that. The second novelty to understand about the system is the material that I alluded to before. So anti-scaling and anti-corrosion material. What does that actually mean? What that actually means is that we can take really, really nasty water into our system where our competitors can't. They need pre-treatment before it reaches their system because they're going to experience things like scaling and they're going to have corrosion over time. And what that does is it means it becomes expensive to run. It means they need to put a lot of chemicals through that system. They need to buy other systems to bolt onto the process. And it also means that halfway through a project, they might be up for replacing a whole membrane, which can be really, really expensive. So we believe we're poised to win. So over here you can see incumbent technologies in the water market and their market share. And then you can see in yellow the average amount that we can beat on price for those. So its average is about 45%. When we talk about the water market, we're talking about a $12.6 trillion market opportunity. And what we're seeing is typically where there was investment from public utility companies in water is a shift to corporate water investment. And the reason for that, unfortunately, is because of climate change. we're seeing that there's a lot of stress being put on the water cycle, either through flooding or through droughts. And what that means is businesses, every single product on the planet, every single resource that we use, uses water within their supply chain. And so we're seeing that they're needing to invest into water security to ensure the ongoing operation of their business. Now, we've found two world-first applications with Hydrocool, and we're patenting both of these applications. So the first one is on data centers. So for a data center, especially those running on AI that run hot, that need liquid cooling, we can lower the energy consumption of their cooling, which is about 50% of their energy consumption, while we produce a valuable byproduct and a recurring revenue. In green hydrogen, what we're able to do is we're able to knock out the internal cooling system within a green hydrogen PM electrolyser, and at the same time allow a hydrogen project to use any water source to convert to green hydrogen. So our traction to date, so we've already built a pilot with BHP, we've already built with a chemical manufacturer, we're now building out with Siemens Energy and GridShare, which is a data centre infrastructure business, and we've had a ton of interest for paid pilots from some really big brand names across the globe. So team, so Bajan Rahimi is my co-founder. He's an incredible co-founder. He's the inventor of this system. He's been in the industry for about 20 years and first developed this system in partnership with BHP about 10 years ago. Google his name. You'll see a lot of research. He's very well known in this industry. Myself, so I have started businesses before, I've raised funds, I've had an exit before, and I've also been really fortunate to work with a lot of different companies and a lot of industries going through this really rapid growth period. And we have some amazing advisors, really lucky to have them on board. So if you're interested in revolutionising the water industry and in what we're doing, you can scan the QR code or come chat to us afterwards.
Really interesting, thank you. I think water is absolutely underappreciated in the climate risk issues that we're facing into. Interesting the way that you positioned that water security is important for every single product and service. So like well done on getting to where you're at. I'd like to understand a little bit more about your intellectual property, or IP, and defensibility of that, and how you think about protecting yourself globally?
So we are currently filing for patents on the application. We own a patent already on the cooling process. We own 2 patents actually on the cooling process. Hydrocool actually refers to not just one system, it's actually a bunch of different IP and operating systems, but we call it Hydrocool to make it simple. And we are patenting not just the materials that we use, which are completely different. We're finding it even struggling finding manufacturers because it's the first in the world that this material has been used in this way. And so we're patenting that application. And we've actually decided, instead of going for provisional patents, because we're talking to the likes of Siemens about licensing technology, we're going for PCT International very quickly. So we've listed out 6 countries. I'm actually in Chile next month because they're also trying to be a leader in green hydrogen, because we think, patenting this very quickly and speed to market with this IP, I'm sure there'll be followers that will come after us, but really patenting it is how we plan to protect it, and also just value stack what we're doing, right? So every time we go to a different industry, we need to kind of optimize and get do different simulation work on that, and we're using things like process engineering and AI to mean that we can even be faster in that process as well, where our competitors are a lot slower and using people behind a desk having to do a lot of simulations.
Thank you.
Your mention of data centers really resonated. That was the growth in energy usage has just exploded, in particular because of those AI workloads. So I saw the Microsoft logo up there. Let's see if we can get the Google logo up there. The product looks great. But what do you see as the biggest challenge as you look to scale this business, and how do you think about you're going to solve that challenge?
Yeah. So one was that I alluded to before, is that every time we go to a different industry, we do need to run simulations. We need a connection point with that heat source. One challenge is, so we know we can compete on price, right? But we need a heat source. We don't use electricity, and we need an available heat source that's globally available. And so this is why we entered into data centres, because globally they're everywhere. They have a very similar heat source pattern, and it means that we can then compete with municipal wastewater. We can then, at a volume scale, compete on sort of desal and go into these bigger markets because we can scale using that source. So it was one of the reasons why we really chose that market.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I feel like we need like wedges of dollars here that we can kind of hand over. In fact, Rain, have you got some $100 bills you could just like hand over? Because I'm convinced. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Amazing. How great was that? I can assure you, and rightly so, there were some founder nerves before an event like tonight, but I think you'll all agree all 7 of them absolutely smashed it. So I'd like to start by thanking our portfolio founders and our panelists this evening. If we can all please give them a huge round of applause. I'd also like to thank Mike and the Google team, firstly for hosting us tonight, also for the partnership that we heard about earlier this evening, and for everything that you guys do to support the early stage ecosystem here in Australia. Thank you. And just a couple of extra shout outs. First of all, it would be remiss of me not to call out that we have our next residency program kicking off in early August. At Antler, we have a voracious appetite for exceptional founders. So please, if you know someone who would benefit from working with Antler to build an incredible business, businesses like we've seen here tonight, we would love to meet that person. So please introduce them to somebody on the Antler team. Feel free to pass on this QR code where they can learn more or apply, or get them to Google Uber Australia. Also, we have a portfolio of over 100 active companies across a really broad range of industries, from fintech, medtech, health tech, even deep tech, and even B2B SaaS. They also range from pre-seed all the way through to Series A. So if you would like to learn more, please hit up myself or James or anyone on the Antler team, and we'd love to take you through the portfolio. And finally, thank you all for coming tonight. On behalf of the Antler team, we're really excited by the opportunities in store for early stage founders here in Australia. And for those who are with us in person, please do join us for some food, for a drink, and for the opportunity to connect with some of the founders that you've heard from tonight. Just a reminder for our founders, it's the tags with the little green strip across the top, which mean investors. They're the ones like Rain that will be handing out checks tonight. So please track those guys down. Anyway, hope everyone has a fantastic night. Thank you.